The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com. You know what Wednesdays means. It's Wrestling Wednesday. Anthony Hartwig, Gary Altizer, our wrestling guru and the head coach of the Wellsville Tigers, right there to my right. Scotty Mincher down below. It's a great Wednesday. We have a packed show, and we start with a special guest. We are joined here in episode 11 of Wrestling Wednesday by our first girls wrestler of the season, and it is from Poland. 35-0, Ella Thomas joins the show. Ella, how are we doing today? Thank you so much for coming on.
I'm doing good. How about you?
We're all doing good. We're happy you're able to come aboard and be a part of this show. We set it to introduce you. 35-0 so far this year. What's it like to start your wrestling career with so much success?
Oh yeah, it's been rough. Like, it took a while to get where I am. Hard work pays off in the room. My coaches helped out a lot, Courtney and Jordan, and a lot of great examples from Lexi Beetle. She's trained me a lot, helped me get where I am. So it's been.
Okay, Ella, every week we have a guest on. I always ask this question. Every great wrestler has a great drilling partner. Who is your drilling partner in practice? Who's your go-to? Who pushes you in the room to make you better?
Well, my go-to drilling partner would definitely be the girls, Samantha Cannon and Angelina Chacon, but the one that pushes me the hardest is definitely Eric Zwicker. I like to wrestle with the boys, get a better look. It's a tougher opponent.
You know, at the top, you said it's been rough to get to where you're at, and you've had you put in a lot of time to get to where you are now. What do you think is the difference maker this year? What do you think has been so working so well for you this season so far?
I think I've just focused more, and I've matured and realized that I'm good at this, and I just need to work at it more than last year.
So I'm looking at a list here of your accomplishments this year. You're a champion at the Lady Arcs Invitational, a champion at the Hubbard Invitational, champion at the Lady Longhorns Invitational, champion at the Lady Vikings Invitational, champion at the Perry Invitational, Lady Raider Invitational, Carrollton Invitational, 35-0 with 33 pins. What do you think has happened that's made you so dominant this season? You said it's been hard to get to where you're at. Have you taken a step maybe mentally? Are you more confident? Do you think that's what it was, or is everything clicking?
I think I'm definitely a lot more confident than I was last year. I didn't know what to expect, but I kind of did coming into the girls. And once I started working harder, I realized that this is what I'm good at, and I started just focusing more.
Me and Gary have talked about this a lot on Wrestling Wednesdays throughout the years. Having the girls wrestling be sanctioned by the OHSA and now have a girls wrestling tournament that's your own. What does that mean to you as someone that's coming in, like you said, coming into the girls season, being able to have the success, being able to dominate in your own arena?
Girls wrestling, it's been skyrocketing, and I've wrestled boys my whole life or my whole career, and it's different, but like I like it a lot more. It's um sort of like not better competition, but like it's like more fair because as high schoolers they grow and they um become more muscular and stronger, but with girls it's like the same, like you get an equal opportunity.
So the rankings show that you're ranked 10th right now, but you have wins over the 9th and the 7th ranked girls in your weight class. And last season you placed 5th at the OAC Girls State Tournament. So do you have some kind of a goal? I'm sure you want to be on the podium at the state tournament, but do you have a specific goal on where you want to be?
I mean, anyone would wish to go for first, but I'm just working to get on that podium for any place, honestly.
Right.
But like first or third, like that would be a blessing. Like,
We always talk about the mental aspect of wrestling and how it's just you and the other girl, and that's it. There's no one there to help you. It's you and her. How do you get through the mental part of the sport, and what do you do to stay mentally locked in during a match?
um, I just I don't really know. I just like focus up, know what I have to get it done on the mat, and come off, chat with my friends. There's not really much I do like mentally.
So a couple of your coaches, Jordan Beadle, Jonathan Arnett, they're from my hometown. I've known those guys for a long time. They're great, great people, great guys. Tell me about how they've helped influence you, especially Coach Beadle. He's been around the state in girls wrestling for a long time with Lexi. He knows a lot about girls wrestling. There's probably not a guy around that knows much more about girls wrestling than Coach Beadle. How have they really helped you in your career?
Coach Beadle, he's been around like most of my career of wrestling. He's trained me to work better. He puts out his time for all of us girls. He misses some of the boys' meets for us to compete. Um, yeah, he does his research for me, knows what's best. He helps out a lot with the girls wrestling.
Saying you've worked hard is obvious, right? I mean, you don't get to where you're at without putting in the time and the effort to get there. But to do that, you have to push through days, I'm sure, where you don't want to do it, or bad days, whatever it may be. What keeps you fired up? What keeps you inspired? What keeps you going on those days to keep grinding?
Just knowing how far I've come with this, I can't stop now. I have to keep going to get better and eventually place at 08 or OHSAA states.
So you say you've been wrestling the boys your whole life, and now you're, it's all girls right now, but you're still wrestling with the guys in practice. Other than strength, that's so obvious. What is the biggest difference you see when you go out to wrestle a girl versus a boy? Do you see that there is a difference in maybe the technique that they use, or are there things that that you have to expect when you're wrestling one versus the other?
The quickness with the girls is they're a lot quicker than the boys, I feel, that move. Um, strength is different. Um, I think it's like mostly quickness though. Like they are fast. You never know what to expect. Um,
What about their gas tanks? Can you tell that the girls maybe they don't get as tired as the guys? That's what I see anyway.
Yeah, they're not I feel like they're more conditioned than the guys, like not exactly more conditioned, but like they can definitely withstand more.
What did you do to adjust to those changes? Like, I mean, you're so used to wrestling guys, and all of a sudden you have to go start wrestling girls who, like you said, are quicker, are more endurant, are able to go a little bit longer. How did you adjust to those changes?
Um I had a lot of like girls practices, like camps. I went to a lot of camps for girls. Just got the feel of it in those changes.
Okay, so I also asked this question. This is a more fun question. So I don't know how tough it is for you to make weight, but after you weigh in, what's your favorite post weigh-in meal at a tournament?
Hmm. I usually go for pickles.
Nice.
Pickles are my go-to.
Good one. We haven't heard that one yet, Anthony.
No, I
Oh
love it.
yeah.
Anytime I hear pickle, I think like the little rascals. I got a pickle. I got a pickle. When you think of your routine, like your match day routine, what kind of things do you do to try to stay in the routine and keep yourself locked in?
Um, just like showing up to practice. Like I do 2 practices twice a week. Um, stay on my diet, eat good, like eat healthy, just stay locked in.
What's your cheat day like? When there are those times when you're able to back off the diet a little bit. You're able to have a little bit of pleasure food. What do you go to?
Like what food?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I would usually go to a burger joint. Like burgers are my go-to.
Love it.
Extra pickles.
Extra pickles.
Yeah.
So with you now, you having success in the team, or the girls' team having success, are you noticing some more interest at your school in the community in the girls' side? Are more girls coming out for the team or coming up to you asking questions, saying they want to come out? Is it building excitement in the Poland community?
Yes, I would say definitely. We should have about 8 girls on the high school team next year. We have about 5 on middle school, 3 high school right now. But it's definitely growing in Poland. We have a lot more coming out, I know. So it's more exciting.
All right. Every week we also have Scotty ask a question. He's got one for you too. Scotty, what's on your mind for Ella?
Yeah, I was just wondering when it comes to wrestling in your career, I was just wondering what's like something as far as like now and when you're done, what are some things like you would want to hear people say about you? Like what do you want your legacy to be, so to speak?
I just want people to look up to me and just see like with hard work this is how far you could come. Like you don't have to be good in the beginning because I wasn't the best, but I've worked hard and this is what I come to.
All right, Ella, we want to end this by letting you turn the spotlight off yourself a little bit and share, your support system, the people that are always there for you. Want to give you time to give out your thanks and your shout outs to all the people that are in your life that get you to where you're going.
So my started from my first coaches, Mike Mihas, Chad Milo, my uncle Joe, and um, Greg, and then to middle school and high school, Coach Beetle has just been around like the whole time. We've had Chad for middle school. He's helped me out in growing. With girls, Coach Courtney Beetle came out and she's coaching girls now. my parents, they've supported me through a lot, all my family. So I've had Lexi Beetle, she trains me. It's good to look up to her.
Gary, any final questions for Ella before we let her go?
So tell the truth. Who wins, you or Coach Beetle at practice? And how fast do you pin him?
That's hard, but I think Coach has got me. But soon enough.
Soon enough.
You'll get him. You'll get him.
got it.
Ella, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us, man. We are so proud of 35-0 and the things you've been able to do on and off the mat. We wish you the best of luck the rest of this year. We hope it goes as far as it can, and we see you on that podium in state. We wish you luck, and we thank you again for coming on and giving us your time in the middle of the school day.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks,
You
Ella.
got it, Ella. We'll see you soon. Good luck.
Yep.
Ella Thomas from Poland. Gary, you went over the season results. 35-0, 33 pins. I mean, you can't get much more dominant than that.
No, she's having an amazing season. Wrestling at that many tournaments, she's getting in, a lot of mat time. 35 matches in 7 tournaments. I don't know how many duels that they've done, but she's looks like she's in the right mental frame of mind. She said that she realized, hey, this is what I'm good at. That's a big realization in the sport. A lot of second guessing yourself in this sport. A lot of, hey, am I really good, or do I belong here? She made her mind up. She said, this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm going to work towards. And she's just off and running. I mean, I'm sure Coach Beetle has nothing but praises for her, and it looks like they're probably just trying to find flaws now that she needs to work on to get better.
Right, they can start splitting hairs a little bit and
Right.
diving into film, because it's not going to be evident on the film when you watch it right away. One of the things I loved about that interview is she admitted, like, it did not start off good. Like, she didn't start great at wrestling, and she worked at it, got to this point. Gary, you've coached a long time. I'm sure you've coached young players, you've coached youth. How do you get through when they don't start off great, and you kind of stay away from the despair or the discouragement of, oh man, I'm not good at this? You keep grinding, and then you get to where she is now. I mean, how rare is that to see from people? How much do you think wrestlers are able to grind through it? Because I imagine it's a tough sport to not be good at and keep doing, because it's physical, right? So if you're not good at wrestling to start and you're getting beat up, I would imagine it might be mentally easier to not do it, but obviously the mentally tough ones are the ones that grind through, keep working, and get themselves good at it. Talk about, from a coaching perspective, how much you see that, and how special it is for a kid to just keep grinding even when they don't start out great.
Well, it looks like I'm rubbing off on you guys, because you nailed everything right on the head, Anthony. You don't start out good in this sport. Nobody starts out good in the sport. It is a grind, and as a coach, when you see a kid suffering, especially the first year kids, just they take their lumps. I mean, you'll have an athletic or strong kid that maybe is good at one move, and that gets them through a lot of matches or keeps it close or gets them some wins. But nobody steps on the mat and becomes a state champion day one. And a lot of times it's several years before they get to be competitive. Some kids pick it up quicker than others, but most of the time you're going to take a couple years of lumps to get through that. You just have to get in there. You have to get in their heads and let them know, hey, this is perfectly, first off, normal. It's normal to struggle at first. That's just the way the sport works. I've used this analogy a million times. Somebody picks up a golf club for the first time and goes out to do 18 holes. It's going to be very ugly, because you have to build the muscle memory, and you have to get the reps in. You have to get the time in just to be able to function, to even look like you know what you're doing, and that's not counting whether you do it well or not. So just getting in their heads, saying, hey, this is normal, and then picking out the good things that they did do. Hey, you didn't stop moving that whole match. That's great. That's a first step to being a good wrestler, is to continuing to work. Or, hey, you maybe wrestled this person earlier in the season and the score was worse. You're making progress, or, hey, you were able to score, 4 points. You had to take down in a reversal. things like that, picking those things out and building on the small victories, no matter how small they are, and keeping their heads up no matter what, because it's easy, very easy for a kid to get their head down. And like you said, it's physical sport. You can be mentally and physically beat up at the same time. So you've got to keep them mentally up. And I think that just being a coach and working extra hard to see when a kid's down, to going over and telling them the good things that they've done, the progress that they've made, and that things will get better is really a key part of it.
Yeah, use Gary's golf analogy, but then go out to the golf course, have another golfer twist your arm while you're golfing, and then see if you still want to do it. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just not an easy sport, and she said it. It started out rough, but that's the journey of 99% of all wrestlers. It always starts rough, unless you're Cale Sanderson, which I think even he said he started out rough. He was an undefeated college wrestler. I mean, I just don't know many who have come right into the sport, done well, and taken off. It just is it's more rare than any other sport. I think I would challenge anyone to that.
Yeah, Cale was probably like 11-year-old wrestling 20-year-olds and winning at that point.
Yeah, he's a special one. There's only one, and there's a reason.
Gary, when you're having a wrestler start, this is the question that popped up during your answer in my mind. When you're starting out, how do you keep them away? Like, I'm sure wrestling is so technical, and you have to be able to be fundamentally sound to keep yourself from getting in positions that could get you hurt or are not conducive to safety. So what do you do when they're learning? Do you like keep them away from the really good wrestlers so they don't get in that position, or do you really hammer down the basics first before they even get on the mat, so they like the first thing they know is to not get into these positions that are going to be a little bit less safe than others? What do you do when you're starting out in wrestling to avoid that kind of thing?
Well, it just depends on when they're starting. If they're starting in high school, there are ways to ease them into the sport. There are JV tournaments. I did that a lot when I first started. The first year or two, we went to several JV tournaments just to get the kids the mat time and to get them just familiar with the sport, and maybe in some competitive matches. It does so much to build the confidence of an experienced wrestler. If they go out, even if they don't win, if they're coming close, and you can see they're starting to believe that, hey, maybe I can do this, it just goes such a long way. Sometimes it can't be avoided. If you're a smaller team and someone is at a weight where you don't have anyone, they're going to be thrown into the fire with the varsity and wrestling in the regular schedule. But there are ways to do it by trying to get them into maybe smaller school tournaments or JV tournaments, things like that. Or, if you're wrestling a duel and you've got a first-year kid and there's a top 5 state ranked kid, and the mental state of the kid, maybe they're fragile, their confidence is fragile right now. What's the point in sending them out there to get to get beat and maybe beat up mentally and physically at the same time? Those are the kind of things that you have to do as a coach to see what's best for your kid. Some kids who have a great mentality, hey, I'm going out there, I'm ready to bang, I don't care who it is. Hey, throw them out there with anybody. That's great. Tell them, hey, you just went out and wrestled the top 5 in the state kid. That's awesome. And some kids feed on that, others don't. It just depends on the situation, and you've got to be cognizant of who your kid is and where they are in the sport.
All right. So as we talk about results, I know there's not a ton from last week, and this is kind of a slow period as wrestling gets ready for districts. But I did see that Jocelyn Brink, another really good girls wrestler from West Branch, finished second in Carrollton over the weekend. West Branch, we've talked about their girls program a couple of times on this show already. They're having good results, and Jocelyn Brink finished second. I believe it's called it was the Spearhead Invitational down at Carrollton over the weekend. So we'd love to see that. Love to see success. Gary, did you see anything in the last week that we should talk about results wise?
No, the only tournament that I knew of locally, because it was the Saturday before sectionals, there's nothing, absolutely nothing going on. There was the OWL JV tournament, but I did not see anything varsity other than that. Anything varsity at all, and other than that, that's the only thing I saw. Teams are now just trying to stay healthy to get ready for Saturday, which will be here in a few days.
That's exactly what basketball is at this time. I mean, there are a couple of teams here and there that are finishing up the regular season, but you see a lot of sparsity in the basketball nights as well. So we're in that calm before the storm as we get ready for postseason in basketball and wrestling. Gary, sectionals are Saturday. What are you thinking? What are some names that pop up? What do we have to talk about to get ready for tournament time?
Just the only thing that I shouldn't say the only thing. The one thing that I'm looking for is where some of these guys are going to go weight wise. You'll see guys make a move at the end of the season, and maybe they'll bump up a weight or bump down a weight than where they've been wrestling all year, because maybe their coach feels they have a better chance at a certain weight, or if their team is looking to do some things and it's better for the team. There are also wrestle-offs going on this week. How do most schools determine who wrestles at a weight class? They wrestle the guys off, and whoever wins the wrestle-off wins that spot. So those are the things that I will be looking for. I don't have anybody off the top of my head, but I guarantee you there's going to be moves made. There's going to be some surprises where, this guy's been wrestling here all year. Why did they move? Well, there had to be a good reason. Either they think that they can do better there, or it's better for the team, or hey, somebody else wrestled them off and beat them for that spot. That's what I'll be looking for mainly. Other than that, it's business as usual, and it's serious time, because literally in most people's minds, what happened before Saturday doesn't matter, because the ultimate goal is to be a state champion, and to do that, you have to get through your sectional tournament first.
Did the state duels go? When is that?
So yeah, that
I know we
finished
didn't have
up.
any YSN teams advance, but
No, yeah,
just for housekeeping.
it finished up. Nobody YSN or
Right.
local that I know of that did anything that got to the finals or anything like that. There were a couple of teams that placed low, but I don't have them off of the top of my head.
Do you know
There
who won
was
state this year?
What's that?
Do you know the state champions this year?
I think so. Barnesville made it to the finals in Division III, and they were beat by a team I can't remember off the top. But it was an upset, and it came down to the last few matches. It was somebody that I had not considered. They came through and won a couple of upsets in some of the bigger matches. St. Paris Graham was Division II. They won the Division II tournament. In Division I believe, was it was a team that's won it a million times. My mind has gone blank. But there were no surprises in 1 or 2. In Division III, just a surprise on Barnesville getting upset.
All right, so that's the hard thing we bumped into, though. We bumped into it every year. We love to preview sectionals, but we don't know the matchups until Friday probably. So
Yeah.
there's nothing we can really break down to say this kid's going to be wrestling this kid. We don't know.
No.
So we're just going to preview it by saying it's happening, and we have a lot of guys that are poised to make deep runs into the tournament that we are rooting for, and a lot of wrestlers that we've talked to on Wrestling Wednesday, including Ella today, that are going to be poised to make deep runs in the tournament. We can't wait. It starts on Saturday. When we come back on Wednesday, we'll have recaps for sure. We'll have results to go over. We can talk about that, and we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, St. Ed's won Division I. Like always, I don't know how I couldn't think of that. I'm just getting over a cold here. So they won 31-20 over Massillon Perry. Division II, Graham beat Buckeye. That was the team I couldn't think of there, and they beat them pretty comfortably. And then in Division III, that was the one I was talking about. I was pretty confident that Barnesville was going to win that, both the duel and the individual tournament, but they were upset in the finals by Delta. That's the team. They were upset 39-33, so it literally came down to one match.
Before we wrap up this episode of Wrestling Wednesday and shift on to our basketball talk for the episode, We do want to say that next week, I think it's going to be Gary's show. It's going to be Gary's going to be running point next Wednesday. I have a family gathering that I have to be at, so tune in for that. Gary's got experience with cherry pickers, so he knows how to run a show, and he's going to be in the captain's chair for Running Point next Wednesday. So make sure to tune into that. He'll have a lot to talk about with sectionals this weekend getting wrapped up. And that's fun. Before we go though, I want to make sure Scotty doesn't have anything wrestling on his mind before we take a commercial break. Scotty, can you bring us home? Can you bring Wrestling Wednesday episode 11 home?
Yeah, I'll bring us home for sure. If I can, Anthony, I'd like to ask Gary a fun question.
Do it, man.
Question. So Gary, I was wondering. I don't think I've asked you this before, but I just wanted to know when you were wrestling and first started and during your wrestling career, what was your favorite move? And then the second part of that, is your favorite wrestling move the one that you love to see executed most from one of your players, or is it something different?
So I don't think I really had a favorite move.
Oh, boo!
I like to do what was simplest and what worked, which is literally the number one way to score, an offensive point is just a go behind. Is just a snap and go behind. It's not anything complicated. It's such a simple sport where headlocks and throws and these big moves, these fancy moves are what you see on the on TikTok or on Reels, that you'll see these quick 30-second clips of these guys doing these crazy moves. But it's hard to get those to work, and usually you're getting those to work against inferior competition. You don't see it much at the higher levels. What works is what's simple, taking advantage of somebody who took a bad shot, and you're just, snapping them down as far as you can get them, blocking off that elbow and spinning behind and getting two. And that's what I try to teach with my kids. Don't get complicated. Don't bring your phone over. I don't want to see this move that you saw on Flow Wrestling where somebody, some standing cradle or some gator roll or some Jap whizzer. I don't want to see it. Don't ask me how to do it. Don't try it in a match. It's very hard to get those things to work. You have to know how to set them up, and you have to be extremely strong and in a good position for it. And if you are good enough to do all of those things, you can do a double leg to a bar and half just as easily. So focus on that. Because you get caught in those kind of moves so often that it's just not worth it. Some of those are just kind of desperation moves, or just something that's set up perfectly is when those work best. I tell my kids especially the first year kids, they're trying to invent something new. Like, look, you're not going to invent any new move. Everybody has tried to invent new moves, and somebody else already figured it out how to do it better. Just do what we're showing. I promise you, I've been doing this longer than you've been breathing. It works.
Gary's that basketball coach. It's like, just hit the layup, kid. I don't want to see you between the leg dugs. I don't want to know. Just hit the layup.
Stop pulling from the volleyball line and trying to be Steph Curry. Get it to the big guy that's wide open down low. Okay. It's better off. I'm sorry I'm boring that way, but it's the reality of the
I'm going to let you be fun. I'm going to let you be fun before we end it, because we have to have the fun answer, because Scotty asked the fun question. So take the coaching hat off for a minute. What is a move that when you see, like, oh man, like when you see it done, whether it be a high level wrestler or whatever, if you see it does its perfection, it looks really good to you. It's the bee's knees. It brightens your day if you see this move.
Brightens my day. Man, you guys are going to hate me, but just somebody. What brightens my day is seeing some kid out there busting their butt. If a kid's getting beat, but he's busting his butt or she's busting her butt, and they're still trying, and they catch somebody that's better than them, kind of being lackadaisical and not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or maybe, hey, I'm going to go out here and practice my takedowns, and I almost trying to embarrass someone. Well, the other kid, hey, been taken down, but I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep moving. And they get caught. Those are the ones that are most exciting to me. Headlocks, head and arms, the throws. Kids want to do it because it looks cool, and if you can hit it right, you can stick someone on their back and win. So seeing a kid who could just continues to work and is losing, but wins the match because they didn't give up, those are the most fun to me. So if somebody's going to hit a headlock, a cowboy, jack someone up, down 14 points, and win with a pin,
right,
I'll take that. Those are fun. Those are exciting. It's deflating to the other kid who was up. But, hey, you got to stay on guard in this sport. It's as long as you're not losing by 15 points, you've got a chance to win. It's just like in boxing. If you're a puncher, you got a puncher's chance because anybody can be knocked out. Same thing in wrestling. You could be thrown. There are throws out there that can put you right on your back, and you can be pinned just like anybody else. You've got two shoulder blades, and there's a ref there waiting for you to have them hit the mat.
Gary loves the underdog story, the turtle and the hare.
That's it.
Classic, the hare just, taking lines of day school, and the tortoise comes up and sneaks from behind him and says, I got this race, my friend. You love to see it,
Okay, I got a move, Scotty. There's one called a Winn-Dixie. And it was made popular by Jason Nolf, who one of the best collegiate wrestlers that maybe ever, especially in the last 10 years. And it's a move where kind of you sucker a guy into getting in on your leg, and you make him think that he's about to take you over. Your body goes over top of his. He's coming up in between your legs. You catch underneath of his shoulder with your foot and take him right to his back. I'm probably not describing it very well, but if you go online and search Winn-Dixie, Jason Nolf, Nolf, you'll see it. And I've only seen it like once live in a high school match because it's hard to set up. You've got to be disciplined. But man, when it's hit, it looks like, how in the world did they get into that position? And you don't pin from, it's very hard to pin someone from that because you have to use your legs. But that's a fun one to watch. So Scotty, after we're done, head to YouTube and check it out. It's a fun move.
Now that sounds like one that you also have to have the other guy do something.
Well, yeah, get in on your leg.
Fall for your bait, right?
Yeah,
you're laying down the lure, but if he doesn't go for it, then you can't do it.
Well, and Nolf was so good, you'd see guys get excited like they were getting in on their leg, and every time I watch it live, I'm like, it's coming. What are you doing? It's coming. You think you're getting in, you think you're going to get a point, and you're just going to end up on your back. He was fun to watch. He was so good. He was just trying to look for things to do entertaining in a match, I think.
Just like the hitter that sees that hanging ball, thinks they're going to drill it, and then it just drops.
Yeah, exactly.
They look silly. They're on their back foot, on their knees. They didn't know what just happened.
Yeah.
So, Scotty, we got the fun answer out of him finally. I
can't wait to hit YouTube after the show.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have basketball to talk about. We will continue our bracket breakdown. We'll go into Division 4 of the girls since we got through 2 and 3 yesterday. Sectional play starts tonight for 2 through 4. So we'll talk about Division 4 brackets and sectionals when we come back on Running Point. Brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
And welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends above our heads now, the big Greenwood Chevrolet logo, which means I can take that small one off since they're really big in the top of the screen. Anthony Hartwig alongside Scotty Mincher. We just had a really awesome Wrestling Wednesday episode 11 happen with Ella Thomas from Poland. We want to thank her for her time. Scotty, as we transition into hoops, we have to go into tournament breakdown. We had divisions 2 and 3 brackets gone over on the air yesterday, but since we did not get the Division 4, we're gonna take a look at the Division 4 brackets. Remember, girls sectionals, as soon as I find my mouse, there it is. Girls sectionals start today on Divisions 2, 3, and 4. Division 1 sectional finals are tomorrow, so we'll take a look at those matchups tomorrow on Running Point. Today, let's go in Division 4. 3 brackets. We'll start with Northeast 1, and this district, Scotty, is going to be held at Grand Valley down there in Orwell. Good friends, a YSN opponent, always good host. They were a host to a tournament last year. Springfield won the Grand Valley district a year ago. Top of the bracket, Richmond Heights, the 3 seed. They're taking the bye in the first round. Always interesting to see these high seeds decide whether or not they want to have a bye in sectionals or take the first round sectional game. And to each their own. Richmond Heights wanted the bye, and they will await the winner of Cardinal against Matthews. Cardinal the 31, Matthews the 29. That should actually be a pretty dang competitive sectional semifinal, and your reward is playing the 3 seed in the sectional final. Good luck with that. St. Thomas Aquinas is on the bottom of the bracket. They have the East Canton Wizards on tap. That's the 13 versus 25. And then the top half of the bracket is finished with Newton Falls going up against Wyndham. I think this is going to be a really good sectional semifinal tonight. Newton Falls is a team that plays a really hard schedule. They have to play Crestview twice. They have to play LeBray twice. They have a quality non-conference schedule as well. So yes, to the 23 seed. Yes, you don't have the record that I think they want to have. Coach Baker does a really good job of throwing different zones at you, slowing the game down. They want it low scoring. They want it sloppy. Wyndham, they're the higher seed, and they're going to be hosting, but they're in for a really tough task, Scotty, against Newton Falls.
This is exciting time, and it's always when you're a higher seed and you're hosting, I just feel like not that, there's no pressure on the lower seed, or they don't feel like anxiety or pressure, but that lower seeds are kind of playing with that house money, so always something to watch.
Yeah, Newton Falls, I think you're right. They are playing with that house money. They want to go in and get it upset. And they have been playing pretty good of late. You look their end of the season. I'm going to bring up their schedule and their results here. They've been playing better of late on the girls' side. They've been finding ways to score. Lily Sate starting to get a little bit consistent on the scoring for them to complement Danny Drake, who's been good pretty much all year as their point guard. But they're on a 2-game winning streak, and they've won 4 of the last 5. They beat Garrettsville Garfield 48-20. They beat McDonald 59-24. They beat Matthews 32-20, and they just beat Brookfield 38-25 in the regular season finale. You look at all those scores, they back up what I'm saying. They want to keep it low scoring. They pack in a zone. They make it hard to score. sloppy, slow game. That's what they want. And if you fall into that trap of not being able to hit shots and rushing the perimeter jump shots and let them have a low-scoring game, they can beat you, and they've proven that. Not the best offensive performances ever. Scoring 59 against McDonald, that's pretty good. 49 against Garfield, that's pretty good. But then 32 against Matthews and 39 against Brookfield. I think if Newton Falls gets 35 plus, that's where they want to be. If they can hold you under 35, that's their bread and butter. They want to play zone. They want to slow the game down, limit possessions. They have a very slow running offense as well. They don't rush shots. They don't get ultra aggressive. So I think if Wyndham wants to win, one, they have to hit shots because the zone will give you good looks. You got to be able to hit them. You're not going to be able to drive. And two, I think they have to speed up Newton Falls' offense and make sure that they put ball pressure and they make sure that they don't let Newton Falls slow the game to a halt on the offensive side of the ball. I think that's going to be the keys in tonight's game against in Wyndham. Bottom half of this district, we have Lisbon getting the bye. They are the 28th seed. They will await the winner of 14 Canton Central Catholic against 11 Wellsville. This will be a really good sectional semifinal tonight in Wellsville between Canton Central Catholic, and we know just like Ursuline, just like Mooney, just like other schools that are having schedules that go way above their division, Canton Central Catholic plays a very hard schedule. So even though Wellsville is the higher seed, they're going to be really tested by the Crusaders tonight coming into Wellsville. That's a tough place to play. No, not a lot of people have a ton of success going to Wellsville. Last but not least, the bottom end of the district, we have Lakeview, and they are the 10 seed. Maplewood, they are the 10 seed, and they will be awaiting the winner of Rittman versus Western Reserve. Reserve is the 8, Rittman is the 33. I think Reserve is the clear favorite there, but then, not a great draw for Western Reserve getting the 10 seed after they win a sectional semifinal. So if Western Reserve is able to get on top, even though they're going to be the favorites, and if they win, they'll have a home game. That is not the favorable matchup that a lot of top 10 seeds have in the sectional final. They're going to be really tested out of the gates when they get to the sectional finals. So we'll see how this district goes on. One of the sectionals start tonight. We can't wait for that. And the games that we have are exclusively the ones that get sponsored by the community. You can find the games that will be at ysnlive.com/live. They will be free because they're sponsored. Districts, we will have coverage blanketed, but the caveat is it'll be pay-per-view, like our football playoffs and like our all the other playoff games that we've been able to do. So now we go into the next district in Division 4, Scotty, and this one's going to be held in Mineral Ridge. They've hosted districts plenty of times before. They are actually a host back in the day when the whole bracket was held in one spot, and you could go and see 4 games in one day, all be sectional tournament games or district tournament games in one spot. The good old days of basketball. This time, of course, the high seeds host sectionals, and then they'll go to Mineral Ridge for districts. The 2 seed Badger, they have a bye. They are awaiting the winner of Ashtabula St. John and Jackson Milton. That game tonight, and that game will be on the network. That is sponsored by DeSalvatore Chiropractic and Healthcare. So we want to thank them for their sponsorship. This is going to be a fun one. Ashtabula St. John versus Jackson Milton. Jackson Milton coming back from a hiatus where they had to miss a season of girls basketball. So it's a lot of youth in their first tournament game. I'm interested to see how the Blue Jays handle the moment. They have a couple of seniors at McKaylee Thornhill going to have to be the one to step up and tell them, hey, this is what tournament time's all about. This is what the atmosphere is going to feel like. This is what everything's going to need to happen and for us to win. They're going to lean on her, I think, a lot to guide these young freshmen into experiencing tournament time for the first time. But Amani Yassine, if she's not phased by the lights, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with for Ashtabula St. John. She has very rare, Scotty. I've only seen it, maybe twice since Ysn started earlier this year. A quadruple double.
Wow.
Quadruple double. Doesn't happen often. And she got one this year as a freshman, and she's had a couple of triple doubles as well. She did that quadruple double with points, steals, assists, and rebounds.
And as a so young in her career, that's super impressive. Do you remember who it was against?
I think Sebring, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
The next line in the bracket, Oberlin is going to be taking on Springfield. Obviously, Springfield, not just the reigning district champs in Division 4, but also the reigning regional champs. They went to state last year in the semifinals. They've had an up and down season, but they're hoping that it all culminates in preparation for the big tournament run. They will start tonight at home against Oberlin. Jeez. Excuse me, they are the clear favorites, obviously, in this game. 5 versus 33. Springfield should have no problems there. We go into the next line. The other end of the sectional looks like this in Division 4. It's going to be Open Door Christian, the 27 seed. They will play Heartland Christian, the 16 seed. That one will also be on YSN thanks to a wonderful sponsor. Mark Franken will be on the call down in the Purple Palace. Make sure to check that one out at ysnlive.com/live. Bottom end of the district, we have East Palestine. They're going to be hosting a game against Fairport Harding. That's the 22 versus 30. The winner will have the opportunity to go to Cornerstone Christian, the 7 seed, on Saturday. And in the bottom half of the district, we have Latonia taking on Warren JFK, which I think should be one of the favorites in this district. The winner will, if JFK wins, they will host the 26 seed Akron Our Lady of the Elms. So that's what that district looks like. That's what that sectional looks like. We're looking forward to the games tonight. If we're not there broadcasting, we'll definitely still have coverage of it, and we'll have recaps of it tomorrow on Running Point for sure. Last district in Division 4, this one's going to be held at Norwayne in Creston, Ohio. Top end of the bracket looks like this. Lordstown has the bye as the 38 seed. They will await the winner of Valley Christian and Laudonville. Laudonville, the 1 seed. Bottom end of it, we have Bristol, the 17. They're going to be awaiting the winner of McDonald versus Lowville, 15 versus 20. That should be a fun one. And a conference matchup. This will be the third time Lowville and McDonald have met as we dive into their previous meetings, Scotty. McDonald 9-12 on the year. They won their first game against Lowville 35-31. Lost their second game against Lowville 50-40. So both of them pretty competitive. They've split. Lowville winning the most recent matchup. I know it's your Rocket, Scotty, so we got to ask, how do you see this one shaking up?
You know what? I'm scared about this. And the reason that I'm scared is because, everything, from, if you don't play this game, if you just look at the teams and break it down, most of the things you're telling me, the Rockets should take care of business in this third matchup. But it's kind of scary just because when you play a team like that you're so familiar with, and it's kind of testy between the players and fans a little bit. McDonald's gonna bring their all, so I like Lowville, but I'm not over confident about it.
Scotty's always scared when everything on paper points to one thing, because usually in sports it throws a curveball at you and it goes the other way.
Definitely.
Especially in Scotty's fandom.
Yeah, that's for sure.
The bottom end of the district, let's look at it. We have Kidron Central Christian. They are the 18 seed. They have the bye in the first round. They are awaiting the winner of Medina Christian and Mogador. Mogador, the high seed there. They are the 9 seed. In the bottom half of the bracket, we have Dalton, 19 seed. They are waiting the winner of Sebring against Southern. Southern is the 6th seed, and they are playing Sebring, the 34. I think what's sneaky for Southern, Scotty, they should be able to, on paper, win tonight. This is a uneven matchup, but when they go and play Dalton, Dalton's a team that has been to regionals. They have the pedigree. Maybe not their best season this year. Maybe not the results they wanted, but because they constantly go to regionals, they constantly win districts. They have a schedule that reflects that. People want to go play Dalton to test themselves. So they have a very tough schedule that got them the 19th seed. I would not be sleeping on the 19th seed if I was Southern. I think Southern is going to be tested in the sectional final when they get there against Dalton.
Yeah, I think so for sure. That's one you definitely you wanna be able to start fast and get a lead in that one.
Absolutely.
If that ends up being the matchup.
Now, if the numbers play out, of course, Southern would go to the district semifinal. They would meet up with Mogador, the 9 versus 5. Top of the bracket, if numbers play out, it would be Lowville actually getting to the district semifinals. They are the 15 seed, and they're the highest seed in their way is 17. They would have to play Laudonville, though, in the district semifinals, who are the number 1 seed in the district. And Tyler Bates, the head coach of Laudonville, very good friend of YSN, always asks us how we're doing. And if it was up to him, Laudonville would be a member of the YSN family for sure. So we're going to be watching this district carefully and seeing what will happen. Sectional start tonight, of course, like everything else. That'll do it for our bracket breakdown. We have gone over Divisions 2, 3, and now Scotty's with us for Division 4. Scotty, what are your final thoughts as we head into the official start of most of the tournament time? I know Division 1 started already, but 2 through 4, we head through the division, the tournament starts, postseason.
Yeah, I guess my final thoughts are I want to see what teams as we head into these matchups here because there's always adjustments made, but I want to see what teams early on in these games when you're trying to set the tone. I want to see what teams because you always have nerves right when games like these first start out because this is where it all counts. You lay everything on the line. So at the beginning, a lot of times these teams are filling each other out, and I'm most anxious to see what team makes their adjustments best because we use that word a lot in sports, and I think adjustment maybe is a little bit like overblown because everybody, makes adjustments and tries to change things up. But I think it's more on who's most effective with their adjustments.
No one can say it better than Scotty, and it all starts tonight. Rubber hits the road, tournament time, which means inevitably we do have to say goodbye to seasons, which is the bittersweet part of postseason that we have to say goodbye to some athletes. Seniors are going to see their career end in basketball, but some teams are going to go on, and we are poised to have a couple of teams maybe make some state runs. That's all exciting. All the road to Dayton. It all begins tonight, I should say. Division 1 tomorrow. Scotty, what another episode, Wrestling Wednesday, episode 11 done, episode Running Point done. We will be back tomorrow. We will recap all of the tournament action that goes on tonight. And Scotty and Gary will be back next Wednesday for episode 12 of Wrestling Wednesday. Thank